Hey guys, and welcome to Sasquatch Theory. In this episode, I'm interviewing Kevin, and he had a Bigfoot sighting years ago at the foot of Mount Saint Helens. The sighting was close to a place called Ape Canyon, which has had a large amount of Sasquatch activity throughout the years. I find Kevin to be a credible witness. He has done work for the Discovery Channel, Warner Bros., and Universal Studios. Hope you guys enjoy these types of Bigfoot stories, and I am always looking for some fresh encounters. So if you've had a Bigfoot sighting, please email me at sasquatchtheory@outlook.com. Alright, with all that being said, let's dive into this next Bigfoot sighting from the base of Mount Saint Helens. Hey Kevin, welcome to Sasquatch Theory. I appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Would you tell me a little bit about yourself and your Bigfoot encounter that took place near Ape Canyon in the Mount Saint Helens region?
Well, now I'm retired, but I had one Bigfoot encounter on August 7th, 1994, on the Lewis River in Washington, just a couple miles south of infamous Ape Canyon at the foot of Mount Saint Helens. Now, eventually back in 2000, I started working for Warner Brothers, and but I'll get to that in a minute. At the time, I was working for Samsung. I was living in downtown Portland in Delta Park, and I went on August 7th to visit my buddy who was having his 30th birthday party, and he lived there on the Lewis River on the base of Mount St. Helens, and there was maybe about 100 people there, and at the end of the evening, when we winded down, we all camped out on the Lewis River because his house wasn't large enough to, for everybody to stay in. So I was camping out on the Lewis River there at a beautiful campsite, and got up just as the sun came up to go to the bathroom. And when I unzipped my tent and walked out, I looked down at the river, and there was Bigfoot lying face down. He was a brown Bigfoot. He was lying face down. He's probably 9 feet tall, drinking out of the river. And I walked down to the river and was standing probably about 20 feet away from him when he looked up, saw me, and he had this expression on his face that I see sometimes with celebrities when I worked for Warner Brothers, where they're like, oh no, now I got to give this guy an autograph or something. But I could actually see his facial expression. And he was definitely a male. And he looked at me and wiped his mouth of the water and walked into the forest and disappeared. So I ran the 50 yards or so to my friend's house, the man who had celebrated his birthday the day before, and woke him up. And I said, hey, I just saw a Bigfoot. I just saw a Bigfoot. And he looked up at me and he said, yeah, they come down and drink out of the river this time of year because the rivers and streams up higher in the mountain dry out in August. And he just looked at me matter-of-factly and said, yep, yeah, this is the time of year they come down here. And that's my Bigfoot story. Now, like I said, it looked like Bigfoot. And Miguel, I did send you a picture that I found on the internet that looked like him. Later on, when I was at Warner Brothers, I was on the set of a movie called The Mummy, which was a Universal production. And there were guys dressed up as half dog, half man. And, they were wearing $20,000 costumes. And you walked up and it really looked like half man, half dog. The actor was in a costume, but so I possibly somebody was dressed up in a $20,000 Bigfoot costume. I don't know. but it sure looked like Bigfoot to me, and that's the one and only time I ever saw him. I did camp on that river many times before and after, but that was the one time I saw him. Any questions you got, Miguel?
Yeah, can you describe the facial features that you saw in the Sasquatch?
Yeah, did you? It's so funny. You know the movie Harry and the Hendersons?
Hmm.
You remember it was just like that.
Yeah, the photo that you sent over looked like Harry and the Hendersons or the Bigfoot off the Jack Link's commercial. I have also heard reports where they look like Chewbacca off of Star Wars.
Yeah, and he was a brown Bigfoot. I've seen other thing people saw a black Bigfoot or a white one in the Himalayas, but this guy was a brown one. And like I said, he was definitely a male. Anyway, that was my Bigfoot encounter. And also, I've also done work at the Discovery Channel filming sharks. So I've had experience with animals that could be dangerous. I've seen in the past how some people had traumatic, experiences after they saw Bigfoot. I did not. I was like, all right, well, it's a very rare and endangered animal that I got to see. And it was in 94, so it was before cell phones. So I didn't have a cell phone to take his picture. And and my buddy who had his 30th birthday, he grew up in the area. And they're like, yeah, we see him all the time. My buddy who had his birthday, he actually did work for the Audubon Society. So he was very strict about how he didn't want to take its picture, doesn't want people to know about it. He's very into letting nature be on its own and stuff. He's a very, very good man.
Yeah. You mentioned the sighting was near Ape Canyon.
Yeah, it's just a couple miles south of Ape Canyon at the foot of Mount Saint Helens.
Yeah, that is very interesting. I hear a lot of reports from that area too. So do you think it's typical for a Sasquatch to drink water face down like that, or do you think he was cleaning himself up
Well, that's a good
or
point
looking for fish?
because I've back in those days I enjoyed camping a lot, and some of us humans like to drink that way. Some of us humans like to drink it a different way. So it's just specific on him. He's the only one I've ever seen. So maybe that's just the way he likes to drink, and his Bigfoot buddies drink a different way. Who knows?
Yeah. When he walked off back into the forest, did he look over at you guys or did he just look straight into the forest and just kind of disappear?
No, he looked at me. He gave me that look. And for example, one day I was in a grocery store with Faye Dunaway, and someone recognized her and came up to her with a paper and pen. Oh, and same kind of look, like, oh God, I got to give this person my autograph now. It's the same kind of facial expression. Was like, oh no, like kind of annoyed with me. Then he just turned around and walked. No, he didn't look back. He looked at me annoyed and then turned around and walked into the forest, kind of almost disappeared right into the forest. It was like, wow. And then, like I said, I ran to my buddy's house, woke him up. It was probably 5, 6 in the morning. And he was annoyed with me too. Oh, they come down here this time of year. Let me go back to sleep.
How many sightings has your friend had?
He says that in August, when they come down to drink near his house, he usually sees 3 or 4 a year. Every August, he says he'll see like 3 or 4. He'll have 3 or 4 sightings.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
He's
a good area.
He's a very dedicated conservationalist. Worked for the Audubon Society. He helped. They have flying squirrels in that area, which are very endangered. That he showed me before. So
Is the river spring fed or is it?
No, it melts right out of the glacier that is on the top of Mount Saint Helens, and that's the thing. Is that glacier in if you go and look at Mount Saint Helens in August, the you see little patches of snow on the top. But if you go any other time of the year, you'll see the full glacier. It'll be fully glaciated with ice and snow. And so that's, according to my friend, why the Bigfoots come down lower to the mountain, because they run out of water.
So, do you remember the exact day and what the weather was like when you had your sighting?
It was between 5 and 6 a.m., August 7th, 1994,
Okay.
Pacific time.
Yeah. And do you remember the day? Was it pretty nice out or was it cloudy?
Bright sunshine, not a cloud in the sky, and the sun had just come up over the eastern hills.
Yeah. So it wasn't super windy out or anything. It was nice.
It was beautiful. It was
Yeah.
a beautiful day the day before too. And like I said, so I had just the sun had just come up, and I had to go to the bathroom. So I unzipped the tent and was trying to find a tree when all of a sudden I saw him.
Yeah, that's pretty close to see a 9-foot creature. 20
Yeah,
feet, you said, right?
yeah. I walked down there and I was 20 feet away, and I stopped, and he was still laying face down drinking. He looked up at me, stood up, wiped his mouth, gave me an annoyed look, like, "Oh my God, it's the guy's going to want my autograph," and then walked into the forest.
Do you remember your exact thoughts when you first laid eyes on this creature?
Yeah, it's like it's Bigfoot. It's real. Because the night before we were celebrating his birthday, and of course we're all sitting around the campfire, about 20 of us, with the birthday cake and keg of beer and etc. And Bigfoot came up. That's a topic in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Said, yeah, and it's just like, sure enough, there he was.
Mhm. Can you tell me a little bit about your work with Discovery Channel and the sharks? How
Oh,
close have you been to a shark and what kind of work did you do in there?
okay. Well, typically I was a line producer, but every once in a while I would get in with a camera. And I'm a master scuba instructor. So that means that not only can I teach people to scuba dive, but I can teach people to be scuba instructors. Um, anyway, so and I have over 4,000 log dives, and I've dove with sharks and 19 different species of whales. I've traveled all over the world doing that. Um, but at the time when I saw Bigfoot, I was just 3 years out of college, and I was working for a high-tech company at the time, just trying to make a living. And this friend of mine who was celebrating his 30th birthday, he actually was a friend of my older brother's. So my other older brother was there too, but he was fast asleep in his tent, like everybody else.
You mentioned while working at Warner Bros. That you've seen costumes that look real.
I was on the set of The Mummy, which wasn't a Warner Brothers production, it was a Universal production. But I was on the set. I was a guest because I was dating a woman who was working on the production. And I walked up to this, if you ever watched the movie, the first one that they did. Yeah, I walked up to this guy who was who was supposed to be a half dog from the waist up and a half man from the waist down, and his costume and makeup cost $20,000. Of course, you can do that if you work for Universal. If you live out in the Mount Saint Helens, you probably wouldn't do that as a hoax. But you can't rule that out. If Warner Brothers or Universal wanted to make someone look, and they have, you watch the commercials, the beef jerky commercials, whatever. So, I mean, I suppose that's possible, but I don't think so. I think I saw an actual Bigfoot, and after talking to the other people, when everyone finally got up and we were having breakfast, a lot of other people were like, "Yeah, yeah, August that's the when they come."
So, what do you believe Bigfoot is? Where do you think they came from?
Well, I think it's Australopithecus gigantus from Asia. That's my theory. So
Yeah, very well could be.
Yep, I took a semester of anthropology at Oregon State University, so obviously I'm an expert. But who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. He is what he is. But one thing I do know is that I've been back to that location before, never saw him again. But if I ever did, I'll just leave him alone. My friend talked me into it. He said, you got to just leave nature be. Hey, humans, we are destroying nature badly enough as it is. So he was a very strict conservationalist and a very good man. I don't know if he still lives there or not. I don't even know if he's still alive or not. But because that was 94, and now I'm an old man, getting close to 60, and I'm enjoying my retirement on the other side of the nation.
Yeah, that's understandable. Okay, Kevin, I think that wraps up your Bigfoot encounter, and I really appreciate you getting in contact with me and sharing it with everyone.
Okay, great. You have a wonderful day. It was my pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. You take care.
All right, bye.
Bye. I want to thank Kevin for being a guest here on the show and telling us his Bigfoot story. I think it's wild that Kevin woke up and saw a Bigfoot face down drinking water in the river. Maybe the Sasquatch were around them the whole night and they didn't even know it. It seems like Sasquatch can easily become distracted at times, even though they are extremely intelligent. I find this story to be extremely fascinating just because I interviewed a man from Tennessee who talked about a Sasquatch that he saw that was swimming in the river. Not only do the Bigfoot travel waterways, they can also navigate by water at times, similar to a crocodile. So like a Navy SEAL, these things can sneak up on you at any moment, even if you are surrounded by other houses and highways. If you got enough forest for the deer to hide, it is possible for a Sasquatch to sneak in and out of the area when the conditions are right, especially if there is a large forest somewhere near in the area. If you guys enjoy this channel and would like to support what I am doing, you can donate to my PayPal in the description below. You can also help by purchasing some merchandise, also in the link below. You can really help the channel by liking the videos, subscribing, and hitting the bell notification. If you really believe in the channel and like what I am doing, and have a Bigfoot sighting of your own, you can help me by telling your story here on Sasquatch Theory. Alright, that's it for now, everyone. Keep your eyes peeled and cameras ready. Take care.